Hello, my name is Nessa Belito Schwartz, and I'm a children's book author who received a 4-book contract in April of 2023. My last post on my YouTube channel talks all about that experience and what I went through on that. But now I was invited to the American Library Association to sign books. My first and second book in the children's book series. I had not even seen the cover for book 2, only the cover for book 1 at this point. But I was so excited to go and sign books. There's a lot of feelings involved when it comes to having your first book signing. You're excited, you're nervous, but you also wonder if you'll just sit there while everyone else is around you and no one wants you to sign a book, and it might feel a little embarrassing, or you might feel a little bit of rejection because, nobody wants you to sign your book. But when I got there, that did happen. I did have a few moments where I was just sitting there. Penguin Random House had a very popular author ready to come, so they were setting up for that author right behind me, like right after I was going to leave and I had my session. A big author was coming in, and there was a line out the door, so to speak, all twirling around for this author. And they were waiting, just looking at me, just sitting there by myself, and no one came up and asked for me to sign my book. But of course, they don't even know who I am. So I decided I would produce and make and build a little puppet show presentation so that when I did have more book signings, because I had scheduled some at Barnes & Noble, I would have a little program to do for the kids and something to entertain them. And so I put together this puppet show presentation, and this is the rehearsal for it. I'll tell you, when you are first starting out and you get that contract and you're excited and you're finally going to be a published writer, now author, you get a little bit of imposter syndrome. It's difficult to deal with, but my advice to all of you is to not do what I did. When I was at the American Library Association, my publisher was really great at drumming up people to come over to our little tiny booth, which was situated across from Macmillan, which is a major book publishing company. And so we got the residual of Macmillan. So once people went through and got what they wanted there, they would see us and we would kind of wave to them and kind of draw them into our little booth, because I'm with a small press publisher, and they would come and I was able to sign almost all the books that my publisher's marketing department brought for the event. So that was exciting. But while I was sitting there just signing my books and I was feeling comfortable because, finally there was a little line for me, and I was excited because this was my first time doing something like this. Just like all emotions, when you're doing something big, they go really high and then they go really, really low. So I was doing kind of high. I wasn't really high. I was more like moderate. But then this gentleman came up. He was a silver-haired man and had a nice suit on. And he approached my publisher and said he was looking for me. He said my name. And they said, "Oh, she's right here signing books." So I stood up and said hello and shook the man's hand. And he said he was from some sort of representative of a children's council of some type, and that I was chosen to be a representative of sorts for this children's council or some sort of poster person or something. So I was just taken back because, I'm dealing with imposter syndrome, but I'm also happy to be there. But when I was approached with an opportunity, I couldn't believe it. So I was very perplexed. I could barely comprehend what he was saying. He was saying things like, "Do you have an agent? Should we get a hold of the agent? What can we do? I hope I'm not blowing the surprise because I got an email to come and talk to your publisher and figure out if we could have you be a representative of sorts or, present something." And I was like, I don't know why you would want me. That's like the worst thing to say. So I just suggest to all of you, fake it till you make it. Just play the part. Just take a deep breath and say, I've got this. Because you're going to be put in a situation that you may not have been in before. If you're already a business person, or if you're someone that's already used to that sort of situation, then you would probably be able to handle it way better than I did. I did not expect that. And I had already just come from decades of rejection with publishers and all kinds of people that I was trying to pitch my stories to. And now I was in a totally different situation, in a totally different circumstance. So I had to adjust my thinking, and I had to do it quickly. And that's not something easy to do. So I'd like to share that with you, so that once you do get to the point where you are published, then there's a certain decorum, a certain way that you're going to handle yourself. So as you can see, I did do this puppet show so that when I did have my book signings with the children and the parents, and I was meeting different people, I would be able to entertain them, but I would also be more prepared. I was not prepared at the American Library Association, especially for this opportunity that was presented to me. My publisher handled it well. I did take the gentleman's business card, but honestly, when I was driving on the way home after the conference, I was literally trembling because I was so afraid and overwhelmed about having to be in the public eye. As writers, as authors, as illustrators and creatives, we do a lot of things solo. We are alone, we're in our quiet spaces, we're creating things. And then suddenly you're thrown in the public eye and everyone's looking at you and they're asking you to do things, and it can be very overwhelming. So just to prepare yourself, tell yourself before, you can do this. It's just part of the whole experience. So fireworks, yes, that is what I felt like when all of my puppet show sets were done. I was ready to go on my little book tour. I had Barnes and Nobles all lined up and I was ready to go. So next video will be about my experience with book signings at bookstores, and working with the children and the parents and even some teachers and other educators, and also with the booksellers themselves. So until next time, signing out with fireworks. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.